today. And with the election judges inside will be working as hard as they can to get them through the line. I just want to again remember, if you're in line at 8 o'clock, you get to vote. And we encourage voters to bring the sample ballot that they received in the mail with them. They can mark it in advance and bring it with them, and it will help their voting process move more quickly, especially with the ballot questions. For voters who requested a mail-in ballot, need to act today. So the ballot drop-off boxes, which is our recommended way of returning the ballots now, will be open until 8 p.m. They will be locked at 8 p.m. and they will not be accessible anymore. Those boxes, there are 284 of them around the state. They're secure and convenient, located in every jurisdiction, and the local election officials are collecting ballots from those boxes directly. So again, I just want to reemphasize the importance of the timeline for returning mail-in ballots. Those boxes are open until 8 p.m. today. If a voter wants to return it by mail, they can, but it has to be postmarked today. So it becomes really important as we move through the day to make sure that voters understand the postmark deadline. If the post office is open, take it in and get it hand stamped there. Putting it in a mailbox is risky if the mail has already been picked up from that box that day. So in terms of election night, I know everyone is eager to get there and start seeing results. I just want to highlight a few things about the results process. So first, all of the vote centers are going to need to be closed before we release results. That is the practice across the country for election officials, and make sure that we don't release results and that people see that and then make a different decision about voting. So we will be posting preliminary and unofficial results tonight. Our website is the best place to look at them. They're updated very, very frequently. And we'll also be using social media to get that information out. So there'll be 3 sets of results tonight released once the vote centers are closed. We'll be releasing early voting results. We'll be releasing the results from the mail-in ballots that have already been counted. And then later tonight, we will release the results from Election Day. All of those are unofficial, as we're going to keep counting ballots for many days after today. So as I mentioned, ballots dropped off today or postmarked today are considered timely. And so we need to allow the postal system to deliver those that were mailed and postmarked today. So we will keep counting ballots as we always do through at least Friday, November 13th. That is typically the day when we certify the local boards of elections certify their results. But we do expect that some of the local boards will still be counting into the following week and maybe more because of the volume of mail-in ballots that we've received. So far, just to give you a perspective, we've received 1.3 million of those ballots back and expect more over the next couple of days. So as the counting proceeds through the next couple weeks, we will be updating our website with those results as there are ballots being counted. There are no local boards counting ballots today or tomorrow. So the next day that we would expect them to start counting ballots to continue counting ballots would be Thursday. If you haven't already signed up to follow our Facebook and Twitter pages, I encourage you to do that. We are releasing information there frequently. And then we also have our online press room you can get to from our homepage. There's a link under hot topics called election, I think, reports and data. And you can also get to it under the press room under quick links. There's a lot of data there about early voting, about eligible active voters, about the mail-in ballots. So if you haven't been there yet, you may want to just become familiar there. Later this afternoon, our homepage, as it looks like now, goes away and it becomes a results page. But there'll be a link that says return to normal page, or there's a link that gets you back to what the page looks like today. So just know at some point later today, the website's going to look different, but you can still link and go back to what it looks like now. So I think with that, I will stop and answer whatever questions you have.
Thanks, Nikki. I would just say Veronica Cool is on. Everyone can see her. She's putting sort of the highlights in Spanish in the chat box, but if there is a Spanish speaking question, she can help translate as well. So we just wanted to kind of make you aware of that. Nikki, there are two questions that came into the chat box, which are the same, which is, can you tell us what was the location that opened late this morning?
Sure, it was Northwestern High School in Prince George's County. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Northwestern High School in Prince George's County.
Okay. Jane Miller has a question. I'm going to go to her first.
Yeah, Nikki. First of all, the 140,000 to this moment, is that about normal for a presidential election? And nothing's normal about this election, but if you were to go back to 2016, what does that feel like at this point?
So I just got those numbers right before I started, so I haven't really been able to do a comparison. I guess I would just say it's probably hard to make that comparison. We've never had 1.3 million people vote by mail before, and we've never had 1 million voters vote in early voting. So I can take a look at it, but I just don't know that there's much comparison right now. As you said, it's never been an election like this.
Thank you.
Madeline O'Neill.
Hi there, Nikki. I just was hoping you could give us sort of an overall look statewide of how lines are looking at the vote centers.
So we are seeing some of the same information that you're seeing, that there are some lines, but they're moving well. It looks like, based on some anecdotal in the city, Baltimore City, the lines are looking very short. Oftentimes we're relying on all of you for the line management. But it seems that there were lines this morning are being cleared. And that's why we are encouraging voters to vote in this window of time, because those morning lines have cleared. And then we do expect them to, the evening rush is something that we're used to seeing from voters.
Thank you.
Christina Tasic. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your last name right.
You got it exactly right. Thanks.
Okay.
Yes. How many, do you have any estimates on how long it'll take all Maryland voters to vote, since people in line at 8 are permitted to cast ballots? And I have a second question as well, but do you know how late will counting go this evening?
It will go until everyone at 8 o'clock votes. So I know that's not the answer you're looking for. It's just going to really depend on how many people are in line at 8 o'clock. But they will be able to vote no matter what the time is. We won't shut it down at any time. If you're in line at 8, you will get to vote.
Okay, and sorry, so what's going to be happening overnight? Like, looking ahead, are you going to continue counting through the evening?
So there won't be any mail-in ballots being counted today. So the only counts today are going to be the people that are voting in person. So we'll release tonight votes from early voting, the ballots that have been counted so far by mail, the by mail ballots, election day. But there's no more counting. There's no counting of mail-in ballots going on today.
Okay, so I'm sorry, you said the 1.3 million people have voted by mail. Have all of those been already counted?
No, they have not been counted. Not all of them have been counted.
Do you know how many of the 1.3 million have been counted?
Have that number. We're trying to get that number. I know that's a number that everyone's interested in, so we're still working on it.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sarah Kim with YPR.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you for this conference. I was wondering, what should voters do if their ballot still says it's been received but hasn't been counted? Is there any advice you have for them? And another question, not quite related, is do you expect any attempts at voter intimidation or voter irregularities today at the polls?
So for voters whose ballots are shown as received, that means that the local board of elections has custody of their ballot. And so there isn't anything that they need to do, because the two most common reasons why ballots are rejected is that they're either late or the voter didn't sign the oath. So if the voter's ballot is already showing as received, then it's not late. Right, that's an easy. That is by far and away the most common reason why ballots are rejected. So if it's already been received, the voter, that's not an issue. The other most common reason is the oath isn't signed. Well, the local boards are contacting those voters, letting them know that they didn't sign the oath and working with the voter to get a signed oath. And so if the voter's ballot is received and they haven't heard from their local board, then we just need to wait and let the process work and let the ballot be counted. So if it's received, it is just wait, and the website will get updated to show that it's been accepted once it's been counted. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up. So hypothetically, if someone didn't sign the oath and that was not recognized until after today, after election day, is there no chance for that person's vote to count at that point?
The local boards will still be contacting voters after election day if they receive a ballot where the oath is not signed. So that curing process, that's what we call it, that will continue for until just a couple days before the canvass ends. So there's still opportunity if a voter didn't sign the oath to be notified and cure that issue.
Got it. Thank you.
Question from Jody regarding mail-in ballots. You mentioned, Nikki, that counting resumes on Thursday. Why is there no counting of the mailed-in ballots tomorrow?
So the resources that are involved with counting are extensive, and those are the same people that are also supporting voting. And so tomorrow is a day of unpacking supplies, pulling out provisional ballots. And so those resources have to be shared between multiple tasks. And so they need to be dedicated tomorrow to unpacking supplies and identifying all the provisional ballots and finishing up election day activities.
We have a follow-up question from Jane Miller.
Nikki, has there been any COVID-related complication, concern, hitch today? I mean, we did have a situation in Hartford County at one of the early voting centers. Has there been anything like that so far in the on election day centers?
So, I mean, I haven't heard of anything yet. You know, we are asking voters to wear their masks, and obviously every election day vote center has social distancing and sanitizing procedures in place. So I haven't heard of anything today.
Thank you.
And Sarah Kim has a follow-up.
Hi, thanks again. So I did have a second question I forgot to follow up on. Do you expect any attempts at voter intimidation today at the polls in Maryland, or any other kinds of irregularities?
So we don't know what to expect, but we certainly have planned for it. We have been working for many weeks with our federal, state, and local partners to provide for a safe voting experience for our voters, and then to be able to respond quickly in case something happens. The Attorney General's office has a voter intimidation hotline, and we are working closely with them and have the ability to communicate and escalate information very quickly if we need to.
Great, thank you.
A last question in the queue currently. So if you do have a question, raise your hand so we get to it. But the last question that we have right now is, what was the reason for the delayed opening at Northwestern High School?
The election judges were having some difficulties getting the electronic poll books all set up and connected and communicating. So the electronic poll books are the tablet-like devices that we use to check in voters.
Great. Give it another second here in case anybody has a question. If not, we'll sign off here and talk to you all again at 4 o'clock. Obviously, if you have questions throughout the day, the team is available to try to address them. But we will be here at 4 o'clock to take your questions and provide another update on the afternoon. So thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.